Please be seated. As the president of Wellesley College, I welcome you to Convocation. It's wonderful to be here with all of you. What a wonderful day. What a beautiful campus. I want to begin by thanking two groups, Jan Valou for bringing their music to the reception and the procession, and also the Wellesley College Choir. I appreciate both of you scrambling as you come back to campus to practice and get ready. So thank you so much. It's now my pleasure to introduce the Reverend Dr. Tiffany Steinwert, our new Dean of Religious and Spiritual Life, who will give the invocation.
Let us be together. Standing on the precipice of possibility, we pause today not only to savor the sense of joy and hopefulness that is this occasion, but also to fix our eyes on the horizon of life breaking before us. Today marks the beginning of our collective academic sojourn. With processions and professions, we initiate one more year together. May we be fully present to this moment, to this rite of passage, that it become for us a threshold not simply from one year to the next, but the very threshold of choice and decision. May today be the day we recommit ourselves to the passionate pursuit of knowledge, caring cultivation of community, and restless exploration of who we are and want to be. May we have the courage to both speak and listen, to confront contentious conversations with a willingness to listen, learn, and sometimes be wrong. May we choose to live our lives more fully, to love more deeply, and to act more justly. And may our strident perseverance for the good expand our radius of empathy, that compassion becomes the very ground of our being. Let today be the day we proclaim with one voice the fervent belief and sure hope that our actions can and will transform the world. So may it be. Amen.
Dean Steinwerk, thank you for those very nice remarks. So good afternoon. It's great to be back on campus and here in the Hay Outdoor Theater to celebrate Convocation and the start of this academic year. Welcome to Wellesley's 141st year. It's wonderful to see so many members of our new Yellow class, the class of 2019. Welcome to Wellesley, Yellow class. This year, we also have 13 new Davis Scholars and 11 transfer students. We are glad you are here. I would also like to say a special welcome to our new faculty and our new administrative and union staff members who have joined Wellesley over the past year. Welcome to the Wellesley community. To the Purple class of 2018, welcome back. It's great to see you again. To the Green class of 2017, the best is yet to come. Welcome back. And a particular welcome to our seniors, the Red class of 2016. You are our student leaders now. The other classes will be looking to you to set the tone for our campus with your leadership. As a symbol of that leadership, you have joined the faculty in wearing traditional academic robes. Finally, let me welcome back our faculty and staff, many of whom were here working this summer. I hope you had a productive and enjoyable summer, and like me, you are looking forward to the coming year. A couple of years ago, a Wellesley senior told me that what she had valued most about her time on campus was the opportunity to talk to her professors and friends about complex and sensitive topics, to hear their views and perspectives, which in turn helped her form her own opinions. This is an important part of your Wellesley education, an important part of your Wellesley experience. Being open to and learning from differing views is never easy. Some think it's becoming more difficult to do. According to a 2013 survey on attitudes towards civility, 71% of Americans think incivility is getting worse each year. And 82% think such attitudes are harming America's future. Here on campus, we have faced a variety of issues in recent years. Some sparked healthy discourse, while other topics made it clear that we have more work to do. And that's what I want to talk to you about today: civility and our responsibility to engage in and promote open discourse in all that we do. Pundits tell us that the absence of civility has poisoned our political process in an unprecedented fashion, to the point, some say, that democracy seems unworkable. Now, pundits often overstate things. We are a country, after all, that engaged in a great civil conflict. 150 years ago, we killed almost 750,000 of each other over conflicting values. In the years leading up to that war, one of our Massachusetts senators was clubbed almost to death on the U.S. Senate floor by another senator who didn't like his speech. Incivility is hardly new. But the scale of incivility may be new, as well as the availability of technology that makes it possible for incivility to be intrusive, extensive, and innovating. Today, everyone has a podium, no matter how deficient their knowledge, no matter how limited their insight. While there are tremendous benefits from being able to connect easily with others around the world, there is also a downside. Social media encourages capsulized mini thoughts and discourages the recognition of complexity. It's a medium where nuance is lost, filters are gone, and where passions become quickly inflamed. Harvard's Randall Kennedy is one of those who has argued that we are in the midst of a civility crisis, one that signals the collapse of long-standing moral and ethical standards, one that is discouraging talented people, particularly young people, from seeking positions in government or in public service of any kind. College students around the country often cite lack of civility in their conversations and discussions as a major problem today. If you can't have wide-ranging discussions in college, where and when will you ever have them? Civility and civil discourse are important to education and an important aspect of any intellectual community. At Wellesley, the responsibility of faculty, staff, and administrators is to provide a setting for you to have conversations that you have never had before, to set up and maintain the conditions where civil discourse can work. You have responsibilities as well. Your responsibility is to participate actively in discussion of difficult topics, to confront topics you would prefer to avoid, to engage when you'd be more comfortable to disengage. Most importantly, you have a responsibility to live with the sure knowledge that no matter how certain you are or how obvious the point is to you, there is a possibility you have overlooked nuance or ignored counterpoints. Or as Oliver Cromwell put it over 365 years ago, I beseech you, think it possible you might be mistaken. Why must you do that? Why must college enable you to do that? Because it is critical to your learning, to your growth, to your development. True learning is impossible without exposure to wide-ranging views. Solving complex problems requires intellectual clarity, and intellectual clarity is forged in the competition of ideas. If you lived in a well-cushioned silo, surrounded only by like-minded people, you would get very comfortable, but you would never get very smart. Our campus this century is more diverse than it's ever been in its history. There is more of everything, more ideas, more opinions, more life experiences, more backgrounds. And that is a very good thing. But, and this is important, for learning to occur, there must be a place for different views to come together and to have open discourse without the fear of reprisal, humiliation, or ad hominem attacks. There must be a dedication to and an embracing of civil discourse for its own sake. Our community is not a marketplace. We're not trying to sell our ideas. It's not a political sphere. We're not trying to make sure our ideas win. At Wellesley, our purpose is to know more, to understand more, so that we can make the world a better place. Now, the word civility is misleading to many who misunderstand its meaning in this context. Free and open public debate is important and useful. It's also often very uncomfortable. Having our deeply held opinions and beliefs contradicted, even mocked, can be painful. The word civility is rooted in the Latin word civitas. The Romans used civitas to refer to a community of belonging, but also to refer implicitly to the contract that binds us to a group with shared responsibility, a common purpose, and a sense of community. What we have in common in our Wellesley community far exceeds whatever we may disagree about. As diverse as our community is, every one of us at Wellesley is the same in one important way. We are all here for the love of learning, for the sake of expanding our knowledge and putting that knowledge to good use. Civility is about the recognition of belonging to a civil society. It is also about truth and enlightenment. Now let me talk for a moment about what civility or civil discourse is not. It is not about being polite, though one of our Wellesley alums, the famous Miss Manners, would correctly insist that politeness should be an important part of it. Civility is not a smokescreen for protecting the status quo, for ensuring conformity, or for discouraging dissent. And civility is not about being passive or uncommitted. As John F. Kennedy said in his inaugural address, civility is not a sign of weakness. And let me emphasize another point strongly. Incivility is not someone expressing ideas that offend you or make you uncomfortable. Incivility is not about comments made in bad taste. Those comments may bring nothing to the table and reflect badly on the commentator, but are not in themselves incivility. Attempting to prevent people from saying or expressing ideas that offend you, that is incivility. Hiding from ideas by banning or boycotting their advocates, that is incivility. Engaging in an ad hominem attacks rather than reasoned argument or deliberately derailing arguments, that is, in my opinion, incivility. Too many people confuse civility with changing the rules to enforce a kinder, gentler democracy, shutting out any ideas that could lead to raised voices or hurt feelings. Civility does not imply silencing, it implies engagement. As our own Madeleine Albright, class of 1959, said, engagement is not endorsement. And as another alumna, Catherine Davis, class of 1928, said, my many years have taught me that there will always be conflict. It is a part of human nature. But I'll remind you that love, kindness, and support are also a part of human nature. The world needs what Wellesley graduates can bring to it. At Wellesley, we have the tradition of service, the tradition of being nobly useful. To be truly useful, we must be exceptional, exceptionally knowledgeable, exceptionally dedicated, and most importantly, exceptionally clear-minded. We can achieve that clarity of vision not by hiding from ideas or by silencing ideas, not by today's favorite debate technique of hurling certainties at each other while closing our minds. We can achieve it, rather, by working together to foster a civil community, a community that recognizes that it is not enough to merely tolerate ideas, but instead strives to learn from them and take them seriously. Wellesley is a perfect place to do that, and now is the perfect time to do it. I hope you will think of Wellesley as a large and unending dinner table conversation where you can test out your ideas, hear what other members of your Wellesley family think, and know that no matter what your beliefs are, you will continue to be a valued part of this family, respected by those around you. Let us use this year to be open to new ideas and new friendships. Let us use this year to listen, to really listen to a viewpoint that is different from our own. And let us use this year to advocate for others when their voices have been stifled, even if we disagree with them, and maybe especially if we disagree with them. Let us do all of that, and I guarantee it will be a great year. Welcome to the beginning of the year. Thank you. Now we'll hear from Provost and Dean of the College, Andy Shennan.
Thank you, President Bottomley, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a privilege to be here again to greet my colleagues in the faculty and the administration at the beginning of a new academic year. It is a pleasure to welcome our new students in the yellow class of 2019. Your energy and excitement are already lighting up this place. Of course, a big welcome back to the classes of 2018 and 2017, and above all, hail to the red class of 2016. So wonderfully resplendent in the academic gowns that you will wear at commencement. As provost, I am allowed to have no favorites, but I only have one gown, and this is it. As we all know, one of the hardest things around here is to get a decent audience for an event. Everyone has so many options, so many commitments, so little unscheduled time. Last week, I asked a senior why this event is different, why such a large proportion of the senior class comes to Convocation. Her answer, which made a lot of sense to me, was that this event perhaps uniquely connects seniors to history and tradition. If you think about it, each Wellesley class is a link in a chain that stretches back 140 years and stretches indefinitely into the future. The feeling of being at this moment, the crucial link, the link that connects Wellesley's past and future, is at the heart of Convocation. So yes, this day is about history and tradition, but it's also about possibility. As we reconvene at the end of a long summer, now maybe the summer wasn't long enough for those who view starting school before Labor Day as a violation of the natural order. But hopefully, still, this was a summer that brought everyone some time to rest and reflect. As we reconvene, we share a moment of buoyant anticipation. My brief remarks today are going to be in that spirit, unabashedly optimistic. I will focus not on our past, but on the possibilities that lie ahead of us this year. It is a year in which I see so much reason for optimism. I am confident that it will be intellectually exciting. I am certain it will leave a permanent imprint on Wellesley College. And I am hopeful that it could be one of those years when, as a community, we make breakthroughs and find ways to accomplish things we haven't been able to accomplish in the past. Why am I confident that the year will be intellectually exciting? As you can tell from the color of my hair, I have been around here for a long time now. I do not recall a moment when so many new intellectual opportunities were being offered to Wellesley students. Opportunities for engagement in research, in scholarly debate, in broader public debate. Let me offer just a few examples. Are you familiar with sandwich board wearers, people who walk in the streets wearing a board on front and a board behind, usually advertising a department store or a political opinion? I think of this as my sandwich board speech, or at least the next few minutes are going to be my sandwich board speech, because I'm advertising things that I think are worth advertising. So first of all, first stop, the Humanities Center. The new director of the Newhouse Center for the Humanities, Professor Anjali Prabhu, is passionate about involving students in the intellectual life of that center. She has designed new opportunities, including Newhouse Center courses and independent studies. She's reaching out through social media and through student liaisons to connect individual students and student organizations to the enthralling creative programs going on in a place that has sometimes, I think, seemed invisible to students. Across campus in the Science Center, 3 teams of faculty, led by Professors Megan Nunez and Orit Sher, have recently secured National Science Foundation grants to bring more than $1 million worth of new scientific instruments to Wellesley College, a new nuclear magnetic resonance instrument, an atomic force microscope, and a new data visualization capacity in the human-computer interaction lab. Students researching in every science discipline will benefit from the use of these cutting-edge resources. Another example, I'm progressing down my sandwich board, is the Freedom Project, a bracing initiative led by Professor Tom Cushman that aims to introduce students to contentious or unpopular viewpoints and difficult issues, very much in the spirit that the President just spoke about. In the year ahead, the Freedom Project will sponsor an array of speakers, panels, and debates to challenge groupthink on issues ranging from fossil fuels to freedom of expression in liberal democracies. Throughout the year, as a campus, we'll have opportunities to participate in debate about some of the most pressing issues in our world. Later this semester, for example, the History and Religion departments will host a landmark conference, probably the first in this entire country, addressing the tragic destruction of antiquities currently happening in parts of Syria and Iraq. In January, the Albright Institute will host the first Albright Institute Symposium, a public dialogue on the theme of global inequality. A year that will bring to our campus luminaries like the writer Salman Rushdie, the head of the International Monetary Fund, Christine Lagarde, and Lisa Perez Jackson, the first African American to head the Environmental Protection Agency, is bound to be thought-provoking and intense. And of course, there will be a different kind of buzz if one of our alumni were to become the first woman nominated by a major party to be President of the United States. Along with this excitement, this year is also certain to leave its mark on this place. While we go about our work, we will all be witnesses to the transformation of Pendleton West from an antiquated space built in the 1930s for the teaching of science into a beautiful, functional, and truly contemporary space for creating art and playing music. The college's plan to modernize our campus is well and truly launched. We've already seen its fruits in Schneider, in the new fitness center, the new air-conditioned fitness center, the beautiful boathouse behind me, in the offices and classrooms of the East Asian Languages and Cultures and Spanish departments. In the year ahead, we will see further visible progress in the academic quad, but it will also be progressing behind the scenes as we finalize plans for renovating other buildings, including your residence halls, the Science Center, and the greenhouses. Another vital process that will be happening behind the scenes this year, the search for a new leader to succeed President Bottomley when she leaves us at the end of next June. Naturally, a new president will mean a new chapter in our history. Nothing that happens this year is likely to have a more lasting impact on the college than this choice. The responsibility for it, belongs ultimately to the Board of Trustees, but they have delegated it to a presidential search committee, which I hope you know includes 2 student representatives, as well as faculty, administrators, and trustees. And if searching for a new president were not enough, we will also be launching a campaign to raise the funds we will need for this next phase in our history. In late October, we will welcome hundreds of alumni, perhaps thousands of alumni and friends to campus for a 2-day event to kick off this campaign. That may not seem terribly relevant to students or faculty members' work, but I assure you it is highly relevant. The campaign will have an immediate and a long-term impact on all of us. If we are to keep Wellesley College accessible to the best students, whatever their financial resources, we need the campaign to succeed. If we are to bring our residence halls and our academic spaces into this century, we need the campaign to succeed. If we are to provide students and alumni with the preparation and the support to thrive in the world after Wellesley, we need the campaign to succeed. For all these reasons, then, the year ahead will be exciting and it will be important. But I also believe it could be something more. With new thinking and new thought leaders emerging at the college, we are poised to make progress on issues that have often challenged and held us back. My message about our possibilities can be summed up in 5 words and a question mark. Perfect for a sandwich board, actually. Could this be the year? Could this be the year when we begin to turn the corner on the greatest challenge we have faced over recent decades? We have built Wellesley into a diverse, in some respects, a highly diverse community. But we have not created a college in which all diverse groups succeed equitably. Last spring, President Bottomley created a presidential commission on ethnicity, race, and equity. This commission, chaired by Professor Michael Jeffries, has been asked to tackle familiar issues, but in a new way, not piecemeal or within a short time frame, but in a sustained fashion over years. Could this be the year when the Commission begins to make progress on this huge agenda? I don't know, standing here today, where the first progress will manifest itself. Perhaps in addressing the unequal experiences of students. Perhaps in educating our community about the impact of unconscious bias. But I believe that the momentum is building. This will be the year when our efforts to enhance support for students' post-college careers begin to bear fruit. Could it also be the year when the faculty tackles some of the policy questions that we have never fully resolved? Could this be the year when the curriculum committee and the academic council figure out what to do about credit for internships? We must not undermine the integrity of a Wellesley degree, but we also don't want to make it difficult or even impossible for our students to secure highly competitive internships. It would be fitting indeed if in this year, the 15th anniversary of the Tanner Conference, we could make progress in integrating experiential learning into our curriculum. Could this be the year we agree on a policy about credit for online courses taken at other colleges and universities? While our own faculty experiment so boldly with online and blended learning, and many reputable institutions offer online courses for credit, we haven't reconsidered a policy on transfer credit that was instituted when online learning meant something very different from today. Could this be the year? Could this be the year when we devise a class schedule that doesn't cram so many courses into so few prime time slots? Could we create a schedule that divides the day between academic time and time reserved for other activities, making life easier for student organizations, for student athletes, perhaps reducing stress? More broadly, Could this be the year when we narrow the distance, or the perception of distance, between students and Green Hall? I have often wished at this event that we could bottle the sense of possibility that is in the air today. At Convocation, we are smiling. We are excited about new possibilities. We are aspirational. We are generous to one another. My hope for this senior year, for the class of 2016, is that we keep that spirit alive. That when we gather together again in the spring, on Ruhlman Day, perhaps, or perhaps when we welcome our new college president, we are able to look back on Wellesley's 141st year and agree it was a year that inspired us intellectually, shaped us as a college, and gave us new reasons for optimism in our future. Thank you. And now it's my honor to introduce Adeline Lee, President of College Government.
Thank you, Provost Shennan, for your words and for the introduction. Friends, mentors, faculty, and staff, welcome. It is an honor to speak before you all today. There are so many things I'd like to mention at this moment. I spent many sleepless nights thinking, how can you mine 3 years of emotion, relationships, and utter transformation at a place like Wellesley, and then turn and reduce what you've dug up into a 7 or 8 minute speech? But after pacing and agonizing, I finally settled on depth. And so today will be a meditation on that, depth. If you spent any time at all at Wellesley, you'll know that we are all burningly consumed and filled to the brim with depth. I hope it won't come as a surprise to any of you for me to assert that there is a rich inner life in all of us, an immense private depth that only we know the entirety of. We regularly see firsthand how much depth we truly have when adversity and circumstance urge us to meet the occasion. But it is also in the most arbitrary and everyday moments that this depth, how lovely and brilliant we truly are, peeks through. Like the time you flawlessly articulated your frustration with insert ism here on the floor of your friend's room, in a way you wish you had in yesterday's seminar. Like that time your friend texted you at 2 a.m. asking, "Hey, are you up?" And you answering, "Yeah, are you okay?" despite having a big exam the next day. That exhilarating feeling of, "I can't believe how funny I am," during a spontaneous back and forth with your roommate. If only that person you accidentally waved to earlier in the day, thinking their smile was for you instead of the person behind you, had been there to witness that banter, to see that you indeed have amazing people skills. It is often in these fragile, fleeting moments that people's truest, most brilliant parts of themselves are revealed. How lucky we are to be around one another, to celebrate one another, and to support one another through some of our toughest times in such a continued and intimate way. It's in these flashes that we come face to face with something that we know is about to leave us. It's impossible to capture it all, and suddenly it's over. Seniors, this is the last time we'll all be at this same place, sitting next to the same people we love together. There is no other moment like this one again. Cherish and hold this year close to you. As we think on depth, it's also worth bringing up something else. A question I've been thinking about a lot that seems to be also intertwined with Wellesley and its purpose. What does it mean to have membership at a women's college especially in an age where we're encouraged to ruminate on and be skeptical of, sometimes, of the constraints that the construction of gender imposes. I am so proud to say that here at Wellesley, we are taught to celebrate depth. We're taught to be okay with ceding control to things that have so much depth, are so infinite that they escape the confines of lines and categories. I'm sure a lot of us here have wondered, how can we celebrate womanhood while also celebrating depth in selfhood, recognizing that college is a time for exploration, and that not everyone at Wellesley is a single gender? Do we scrap sisters and go with siblings instead? Always? Can we have one without the expense of another? If there's anything worth saying today, especially as we stand confronted by articles that question the relevance of women's colleges, it's this: it is okay and crucial, I would argue, that we celebrate womanhood at a women's college. It is okay to identify with sisterhood and to draw strength from it. Women's colleges will remain relevant so long as there are people, systems, and institutions in the world that undervalue the power and the potential of women. Wellesley will remain relevant so long as there are those that stand to gain from framing women's issues as strictly women's issues rather than the issues of an age. So with that said, we must remember that there is nothing wrong with holding sacred the bonds that stand to be made between women. There are few spaces in the world where women are encouraged and celebrated for coming together. Wellesley is one of them. I tell my friends back home all the time that I was drawn to this place not because of an absence of men, because we do have them here, in our students, in our faculty, and our staff, but rather because of the sheer presence of women. This brings us back to the earlier question: how do we do both? How do we acknowledge the value and power that female-oriented language has, but also acknowledge that not everyone here is a woman? Let me be clear. It is not okay to erase or fail to acknowledge the presence of depth in the students that are accepted here. I firmly believe that we stand to lose so much when we phrase the conversation as sisters or siblings. Why not both? The two are not mutually exclusive, and this is no zero-sum game. Sisters and siblings, we are underserving each other and the world we could so beautifully create if we believe otherwise. May we all, in recognizing depth, be as conscious as we can of honoring both where our college began and where it is heading, sisters and siblings. And now, unfortunately for me, and as I was saying earlier, you only have so much time for a speech. But what do you do when there are so many other important things worth mentioning? And what's a convocation speech to seniors without some heartfelt sappiness at the end? Consider this the lightning round. 1, I challenge you, Wellesley, to see this widely talked phenomenon of political correctness not as a hindrance to free speech, but as a charge to be better, more thoughtful, more appreciative of the depth of your words. Recognize that many words, often especially the academic ones, have origins in inequality and privilege. We must be deeply aware of how we use these words, their ability to inflict pain and harm, and their ability to further ideologies that none of us should stand for: bigotry, racism, and misogyny. 2, in this vein, a charge for us all. May we always try our best not to attribute to intolerance and bad intention what could be attributed to mere ignorance or poor execution. All of us came from a place of not knowing once. See these ideas you now have as a privilege by virtue of your membership at Wellesley, and therefore, See this charge as yet another way of paying it forward. We all have great moments and not so great moments. To grasp the concept of humanity, we must first recognize this duality in others and in ourselves. Recognizing this is a fundamental intermediary to empathy. 3, so many of us are driven by the promise of one day helping people. But we lose out on so much when we fail to shift our gaze to the very people and issues we're surrounded by at our home at this very moment. Realize that the work you do now at Wellesley College for Wellesley College truly matters. You're impacting real people with real feelings, and the stakes are just as high. And finally, 4, my parting hope. May more of these passing moments of brilliance, the infinite, inextinguishable luster that exists in all of us, be revealed to our peers, to our friends, to our mentors, and most importantly, to ourselves during these last brief moments together. In each of us, there is an inexhaustible galaxy that is deeply special. May we give as much as we can of this galaxy this year to one another. And may we find it always worth our time and our minds to devote ourselves to what's good and right, purely and simply because of how much it really does matter in the grand scheme of things. Thank you. And now, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome to the stage your Chief Justice for the 2015-2016 year, Mayanka Kumar.
Thank you, Adeline, for your beautiful words and for your introduction. To my Wellesley community, what a pleasure it is to speak to you all this afternoon. My name is Mayanka Kumar, and I am your Chief Justice. I would like to begin by asking you to think of your first night at Wellesley. Yes, the lake jump. A night filled with excitement, giddiness, nervousness, and let's be honest, a lot of confusion. We chanted and hollered with pride for our dorms that we had barely spent any time in. However, that didn't matter because we were cheering together. We left our cell phones, jewelry, swipe cards, and towels near random trees. We tightly clung to our new roommates and charged hand in hand into the lake. Although we may have not known at that moment, this was our first time experiencing the Wellesley Honor Code. That night, when we barely knew each other, we were asked to trust, embrace, and encourage one another. As we begin our senior year, I ask you to remember this feeling. Undoubtedly, there will be times during the year where your values are challenged. When so confronted, you will need to be ready to stand on your principles. It is not easy to request that we act with honesty, integrity, and respect. However, in choosing to prioritize our honor code, you will make our community a better place. Our honor code applies to every aspect of life at Wellesley, academic or social. Choose to hold to these values and stick to it. As students, we are responsible to act with integrity and honesty in all of our academic work. We should ask for clarification if the instructions from our professors are unclear. We should not give or receive help from our peers during exams unless we are given permission from our professors to collaborate. Additionally, our social relationships flourish with our honor code. We must treat each other with mutual respect and consider how our words and behavior, whether that is in person, online, or on anonymous forums, affect the safety and trust of our community. When we see that our words or actions may hurt each other, we should initiate dialogue in order to increase our understanding of others' perspectives. When thinking of our honor code, we must see that it strengthens the bonds of our community in ways that encourages us to support, respect, and learn from one another. Our community includes the students, faculty, staff, and administration. That being said, I ask that every member of this community conduct themselves in the spirit of our honor code. At this time, I would like everyone to stand and recite the honor code that is printed in your program. Okay. As a Wellesley College student, I will act with honesty, integrity, and respect. In making this commitment, I am accountable to the community and dedicate my life to a life of honor. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you again for allowing me to serve as your Chief Justice, and I wish the very best for each of you this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayanka. Please stand for the singing of America the Beautiful and the benediction. Ismet Uner, class of 2016, will lead us in singing America the Beautiful. Okay, come on up.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with sisterhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for pilgrim feet whose stern impassioned stress a thoroughfare for freedom beat across the wilderness. America, America, God mend thine every flaw, confirm thy soul in self-control, thy liberty in law. Oh, beautiful for patriot dream that sees beyond thy years, thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with sisterhood from sea to shining sea.
And let us be together one last time today. Take a moment, look around. Go ahead, I mean this. This is not rhetoric. You will get to know this about me. Look around, side to side, forward, backward. There are people seated behind you that you cannot see. So cast your eye back there. And together, let us close this event. May today be the day we begin to live life anew exploring new paths and perspectives. May today be the day we open ourselves to diverse ideas and commit always to speak with honesty, integrity, and respect. May today be the day we recognize and honor our individual and collective depths, so that we might move forward into a future marked by hope, creating a world that is known by peace, justice, and compassion beyond measure. So look around. Go ahead. Sideways, backwards, forward. I mean it. I said it the first time. I mean it this time. Same people, different view. May this day be the day, and may this year be the year. May it be so. Amen.
This concludes our convocation ceremony. Faculty, please follow the convocation marshals in the procession. Students, please remain in your seats for step singing, which will begin shortly. And of course, faculty and staff, you're welcome to stay for step singing, but we now conclude. Thank you.